All right, I like the quote that you have at the beginning. You set up a pretty clear statement of what your goal is going to be. During the body of the speech, I didn't think you were as consistent in citing the supporting points as it sounded like you were going to be at the beginning. At the end of the speech, I thought you did have a pretty effective summary and exit line, so that helps. At one point, I was a little confused because when you were talking about your friend's friend, I guess it was, her brother who had returned, it sounded at one point like they had come back from Afghanistan and then they were talking to Iraqi. I wasn't quite sure about what the data on that was, so make sure that that's consistent. There's a cause-effect argument being made on the deficit and the military spending, and so we're going to need some more information, for instance, on other spending during the times that you're talking about. You mentioned particularly the 20-year history of military spending, so we need to have that with the context of what's being spent in other places. Let me see. The claim about the $10 trillion, for instance, we need a source citation on that. You get the debt ratio, for instance, in a lot of places, and you talk about that, and I think you should be given us source citations on that. Let me see. On the presentation issues, I thought that you did a nice job with your vocal enthusiasm, and you project pretty well. Your eye contact is usually solid. You know what? The movement is sometimes purposeful, but too often it looks really just like it's anxiousness. So I think you want to, moving from side to side is not a bad thing, but you ought to be doing it based on I'm changing subjects now or I'm moving to another issue. To me, it looked too much like you were just pacing, and so I think you want to cut down on that sort of thing and make those movements a lot more purposeful. Though I did catch one piece of information in the speech that I think you've got to get right. You mentioned the $52 billion that we spent on education. That's federal spending on education. Make sure that you distinguish that, because California spends at least $52 billion on education every year. It's in our, so you're talking about federal deficits here, and how much does the Fed spend on those kinds of things. Always make it in context. All right, thank you.